Cloudtts. Walking in the Footsteps of the Buddha. Author Thich Nhat Hanh. Book 3. Chapter 79. Sandalwood Tree Mushrooms. Venerable Ananda sat down next to the Buddha and spoke in a soft voice. I never saw you so sick in all the years we have been together. I felt paralyzed. I couldn't think clearly or carry out my duties. The others did not think you would pull through, but I said to myself, the Lord Buddha has not yet given us his last testament. Surely he cannot enter nirvana yet. That thought kept me from the brink of despair. The Buddha said, Ananda, what else can you and the Sangha expect from me? I have taught the Dharma fully and deeply. Do you think I have concealed anything from the bhikkhus? Ananda, the teaching is the true refuge. Every person must make the teaching his own refuge. Live according to the teaching. Every person should be a lamp unto himself. Ananda, the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha are present in everyone. The capacity for enlightenment is the Buddha, the teaching is the Dharma, the community of support is the Sangha. No one can take away the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha within you. Though heaven and earth may crumble, the three gems will remain intact within every person. They are the true refuge. When a bhikkhu dwells in mindfulness and contemplates his body, feelings, mind, and objects of mind, he is like an island unto himself. He possesses the truest refuge of all. No person, not even a great master, can ever be a more stable refuge than your own island of mindfulness, the three gems within you. By the end of the retreat, the Buddha's health was greatly restored. One morning, novice Kunda, who was Venerable Sariputta's attendant, came seeking Ananda. He informed Ananda that Sariputta had just died in Nola. He handed Ananda Venerable Sariputta's robe, begging bowl, and urn of ashes. He then covered his face and burst into tears. Venerable Ananda wept too. Kunda explained that after Sariputta returned to Nola, he cared for his mother until her death. After her cremation ceremony, he assembled his relatives and all the villagers and gave them a teaching concerning the Dharma. He gave them the three refuges and showed them how to follow the practice. He then sat in a lotus position and passed into nirvana. Shortly before this, he told Kunda that he wanted his robe, bowl, and ashes carried back to the Buddha. He also wanted Kunda to ask the Buddha to allow Kunda to remain by the Buddha's side. Venerable Sariputta told Kunda that he wished to pass away before the Buddha did. Venerable Ananda wiped away his tears and went with Kunda to find the Buddha. The Buddha gazed quietly at the robe, bowl, and ashes of his greatest disciple. He did not say anything. Then he looked up and gently patted Kunda's head. Venerable Ananda said, Lord Buddha, when I heard that our brother Sariputta was dead, I felt paralyzed. My eyes and mind grew hazy. I am deeply grieved. The Buddha looked at Ananda and said, Ananda, did your brother take away your precepts, concentration, understanding, and liberation when he died? Ananda quietly answered, that is not the reason for my sadness, Lord. When Brother Sariputta was alive, he lived the teaching with his whole being. He taught, guided, and encouraged the rest of us. With Brothers Sariputta and Moggallana gone, the Sangha feels empty. How could we not feel sad? The Buddha said, Ananda, so many times I have reminded you that with birth there is death. That which comes together must separate. All dharmas are impermanent. We should not become attached to them. You must transcend the world of birth and death, arising and dissolving. Ananda, Sariputta was a great branch that fulfilled his duty in helping nourish the tree. That branch is still present in the tree. The tree is the community of bhikkhus practicing the teaching of enlightenment. If you but open your eyes and look, you will see Sariputta in yourself, in the Tathagata, in the community of bhikkhus, in all the people Sariputta taught, in novice Kunda, and along every path Sariputta traveled to spread the teaching. Open your eyes, Ananda, and you will see Sariputta everywhere. Don't think Sariputta is no longer with us. He is here and will always be. Ananda, Sariputta was a bodhisattva, an enlightened person who used his understanding and love to guide other beings to the shore of enlightenment. Among the bhikkhus, Sariputta earned praise for his great wisdom. He will be remembered by future generations as a bodhisattva of great understanding. Ananda, among the bhikkhus, there are many bodhisattvas who, like Sariputta, have taken the great vow. Bhikkhu Panna, Bhikkhuni Yasodhara, lay disciple Sudatta are bodhisattvas of great compassion who lived the vow to help all beings, never afraid of suffering or hardship. Bhikkhuni Yasodhara and disciple Sudatta have passed away, but Venerable Panna continues to work courageously and energetically to serve all beings. The Tathagata thinks of Venerable Moggallana and knows he was a bodhisattva of great courage and energy. Few can compare with him. Venerable Mahakassapa, with his simple, humble life, is a bodhisattva of simple living. Venerable Aniruddha is a bodhisattva of great effort and diligence. Ananda, if future generations continue to study and practice the path of liberation, bodhisattvas will continue to appear in this world. Ananda, faith in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha is faith in the future of the community. In the future there will be other bodhisattvas as great as Sariputta, Moggallana, Panna, Aniruddha, Yasodhara, and Anathapindika. Ananda, do not grieve over Brother Sariputta's death. That noon along the banks of the Ganga, near Ukasela hamlet, the Buddha serenely announced Venerable Sariputta's death. He urged the bhikkhus to devote all their efforts to become more like Sariputta, who took the great vow to help all other beings. He said, Bhikkhus, you should take refuge in yourself and be an island unto yourself. Do not rely on anything else, and you will not be drowned by the waves of sorrow and despair. You should take refuge in the Dharma and take the Dharma as the island. One morning, the Buddha and Ananda entered Vesali to beg. They took their food and ate it in a nearby forest. After that, the Buddha said, Ananda, we should return to Kapala temple to rest this afternoon. Along the way to Kapala temple, the Buddha stopped several times to admire the landscape. He said, "Ananda, Varsali is so beautiful. Udina temple is so lovely. All the temples such as Gautamaka, Satanbaka, and Bahuputta are beautiful. The temple in Kapala where we will soon rest is also a very pleasant place." After making a place for the Buddha to rest, Venerable Ananda went outside to practice walking meditation. While he was walking, the earth suddenly quaked beneath his feet. He felt both his mind and body shaken. He quickly returned to the temple and found the Buddha sitting there peacefully. Ananda told him of the tremor he had just felt. The Buddha said, "Ananda, the Tathagata has made his decision. In 3 months, I will pass away." Venerable Ananda felt his arms and legs go numb. His eyes blurred and his head spun. He knelt before the Buddha and begged him, "Please, Lord, do not die so soon. Please have pity on all your disciples." The Buddha did not answer. Ananda repeated his words 3 times. The Buddha then said, "Ananda, if you have faith in the Tathagata, you will know that my decisions are timely. I have said I will pass away in 3 months. Ananda, invite all the bhikkhus in this region to gather at Kutagara Dharma Hall in Great Forest." 7 days later, 1,500 bhikkhus and bhikkhunis gathered in Kutagara Dharma Hall. The Buddha sat on the Dharma platform. He looked out over the community and said, "Bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, all that the Tathagata has transmitted to you, you must carefully and skillfully study, observe, practice, and verify for yourselves in order to transmit it to future generations. Living and practicing the way should continue to assure the peace, joy, and happiness of all beings. Bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, the essence of the Tathagata's teaching can be found in the 4 establishments of mindfulness, the 4 right efforts, the 4 bases of spiritual strength, the 5 faculties, the 5 powers, the 7 factors of awakening, and the Noble Eightfold Path. Study, practice, realize, and transmit these teachings. Bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, all dharmas are impermanent. They are born and die, they arise and dissolve. Make great efforts to attain liberation. In 3 months, the Tathagata will pass away." 1,500 monks and nuns silently listened to the Buddha and absorbed his direct teaching. They understood this would be their last chance to see and hear the Buddha give a Dharma talk. Knowing that the Buddha would pass away soon, everyone felt anguish. The next morning, the Buddha went into Varsali to beg, and then he ate in the forest. Afterwards, he and several bhikkhus departed from Varsali. Looking back at the city with the eyes of an elephant queen, the Buddha said to Venerable Ananda, "Ananda, Varsali is so beautiful. This is the last time the Tathagata will look upon it." The Buddha then turned around. Looking straight ahead, he said, "Let us head towards Bandagama." That afternoon, the Buddha offered Dharma teaching to 300 bhikkhus in Bandagama about precepts, concentration, understanding, and liberation. After several days of rest there, the Buddha proceeded on to Matagama, Ambagama, and Jambagama. He instructed the bhikkhus in all these places. They next traveled to Bhoganagara, where the Buddha rested in Ananda temple. Many bhikkhus in the region came to receive his teaching. He told the bhikkhus how necessary it was to verify the teaching for themselves. Whenever someone speaks about the teaching, even if he claims that it comes directly from recognized authorities, do not be hasty to accept his words as the Tathagata's authentic teaching. Compare what he says to the sutras and precepts. If it contradicts the sutras and precepts, discard what he says. But if his words are in accord with the sutras and precepts, accept and practice what he says. The Buddha went on to Pava, where he rested in the mango grove that belonged to a lay disciple named Kunda, a blacksmith's son. Kunda invited the Buddha and the nearly 300 bhikkhus traveling with him to take a meal in his home. Kunda's wife and friends served all the bhikkhus, while Kunda personally served the Buddha a special dish he had prepared. It was a dish of mushrooms picked from a sandalwood tree and was called Sukara Madeva. When he had finished eating, the Buddha told Kunda, "Dear Kunda, please bury whatever remains of the mushrooms and do not allow anyone else to eat them." When everyone was finished eating, the Buddha gave a Dharma talk. Then he and the bhikkhus rested in the mango grove. That night, the Buddha was seized with violent stomach cramps. He was unable to sleep all night. In the morning, he took to the road with the bhikkhus and headed towards Kusinara. All along the way, his stomach cramps worsened until he was forced to stop and rest beneath a tree. Venerable Ananda folded the Buddha's extra sanghati and placed it beneath the tree for the Buddha to rest upon. The Buddha asked Ananda to fetch some water for him to ease his thirst. Ananda said, "Lord, the stream here is filled with muddy water because a caravan of cattle carts recently passed by. Please wait until we reach Kakuta. The water there will be clear and sweet. I will fetch you water there for both washing and drinking." But the Buddha said, "Ananda, I am too thirsty. Please get me some water here." Ananda did as he was told. To his surprise, when he scooped up the muddy water into a jug, it turned perfectly clear. After he drank the water, the Buddha lay down to rest. Venerables Anuruddha and Ananda sat close by. The other bhikkhus sat in a circle around the Buddha. At that very moment, a man from Kusinara happened to walk by. When he saw the Buddha and the bhikkhus, he bowed down low. He introduced himself as Pakusa, a member of the Malla clan. He had once been a disciple of Master Alara Kalama, the same teacher the young Siddhartha had studied with. Pakusa had heard a great deal about the Buddha. He bowed again and then offered the Buddha 2 new robes. The Buddha accepted one and then asked Pakusa to offer the other robe to Venerable Ananda. Pakusa asked to be accepted as a disciple. The Buddha spoke to him of the teaching and gave him the refuges. Overjoyed, Pakusa thanked the Buddha and then took his leave. The Buddha's robe was travel-worn and stained, and so Ananda helped him change into the new robe. Then the Buddha stood up and, together with the bhikkhus, continued to walk toward Kusinara. When they reached the banks of the Kakuta River, the Buddha bathed and drank more water. Then he headed for a nearby mango grove. He asked Bhikkhu Kundaka to fold his extra robe and place it on the ground for him to lie upon. The Buddha called Venerable Ananda and said, "Ananda, the meal we ate at lay disciple Kunda's home was the Tathagata's last meal. People may accuse Kunda of serving me an unworthy meal, so I want you to tell him that the two meals I treasure the most in my life were the one I ate just before attaining the way, and my last meal before passing into nirvana. He should feel nothing but happiness for having served me one of those meals." After resting a short while, the Buddha stood up and said, "Ananda, let us cross the Hiranavati river and enter the forest of sal trees, which belongs to the Mala people. That forest, at the entrance to Kusinara, is most beautiful." Chapter 80. Be diligent. It was dusk by the time the Buddha and the bhikkhus reached the forest of sal trees. The Buddha asked Ananda to prepare a place between two sal trees for him to lie down. The Buddha lay on his side, his head facing north. All the bhikkhus sat around him. They knew that the Buddha would pass into nirvana that same night. The Buddha looked up at the trees and said, "Ananda, look. It is not yet spring, but the sal trees are covered with red blossoms. Do you see the petals falling on the Tathagata's robes and the robes of all the bhikkhus? This forest is truly beautiful. Do you see the western horizon all aglow from the setting sun? Do you hear the gentle breeze rustling in the sal branches? The Tathagata finds all these things lovely and touching. Bhikkhus, if you want to please me, if you want to express your respect and gratitude to the Tathagata, there is only one way, and that is by living the teaching." The evening was warm and Venerable Upavana stood over the Buddha to fan him, but the Buddha asked him not to. Perhaps the Buddha did not want his splendid view of the setting sun obstructed. The Buddha asked Venerable Anuruddha, "I do not see Ananda, where is he?" Another bhikkhu spoke up, "I saw Brother Ananda standing behind some trees weeping. He was saying to himself, 'I have not yet attained my spiritual goal and now my teacher is dying. Who has ever cared more deeply for me than my teacher?'" The Buddha asked the bhikkhu to summon Ananda. The Buddha tried to comfort Ananda. He said, "Don't be so sad, Ananda. The Tathagata has often reminded you that all dharmas are impermanent. With birth, there is death. With arising, there is dissolving. With coming together, there is separation. How can there be birth without death? How can there be a rising without dissolving? How can there be coming together without separation? Ananda, you have cared for me with all your heart for many years. You have devoted all your efforts to helping me, and I am most grateful to you. Your merit is great, Ananda, but you can go even farther. If you make just a little more effort, you can overcome birth and death. You can attain freedom and transcend every sorrow. I know you can do that, and that is what would make me the most happy. Turning to the other bhikkhus, the Buddha said, "No one has been as good an attendant as Ananda. Other attendants in the past sometimes dropped my robe or bowl to the ground, but never Ananda. He has taken care of all my needs from the tiniest detail to the largest tasks. Ananda always knew when and where a bhikkhu, bhikkhuni, lay disciple, king, official, or practitioner from a different religious sect should meet with me. He arranged all meetings most effectively and intelligently. The Tathagata believes that no enlightened master in the past or future could have an attendant more talented and devoted than Ananda." Venerable Ananda wiped his tears and said, "Lord, please don't pass away here. Kusinara is just a small town of mud dwellings. There are so many more worthy places like Sampa, Rajagaha, Savatthi, Sakata, Kosambi, or Varanasi. Please, Lord, select such a place to pass away so that more people will have a chance to see your face one last time." The Buddha replied, "Ananda, Kusinara is also important, even if it is no more than a small town of mud dwellings. The Tathagata finds this forest most agreeable. Ananda, do you see the sal flowers falling about me?" The Buddha asked Ananda to go into Kusinara and announced to the Mallas that the Buddha would pass into nirvana in the grove of sal trees at the night's last watch. When the Malla people heard this news, they hastily made their way to the forest. An ascetic named Subhadda was among them. While the people took turns bowing to the Buddha, Subhadda asked Venerable Ananda if he could have an audience with the Buddha. Ananda refused, saying the Buddha was too tired to receive anyone. But the Buddha overheard their conversation and said, "Ananda, let ascetic Subhadda speak with me. The Tathagata will receive him." Ascetic Subhadda knelt before the Buddha. He had long felt drawn to the Buddha's teaching but had never met him before. He bowed and said, "Lord, I have heard about spiritual leaders such as Purana Kassapa, Makali Gasala, Ajita Kesakambalin, Pakuda Kakayana, Sanjaya Balathaputta, and Nigantha Nathaputta. I would like to ask if, according to you, any of them attain true enlightenment." The Buddha answered, "Subhadda, whether or not they attained enlightenment is not a necessary thing to discuss now. Subhadda, the Tathagata will show you the path by which you yourself can attain enlightenment." The Buddha spoke to Subhadda about the Noble Eightfold Path. He concluded by saying, "Subhadda, wherever the Noble Eightfold Path is truly practiced, you will find people who have attained enlightenment. Subhadda, if you follow this path, you, too, can attain enlightenment." Ascetic Subhadda felt his heart suddenly opened. He was filled with great happiness. He asked the Buddha to accept him as a bhikkhu. The Buddha asked the Venerable Anuruddha to perform the ordination ceremony right then and there. Subhadra was the last disciple received by the Buddha. After Subhadra's head was shaved, he received the precepts and was given a robe and bowl. The Buddha then looked at all the bhikkhus sitting around him. Many bhikkhus from the vicinity had arrived, and so there were now nearly 500. The Buddha spoke to them. Bhikkhus, if you have any doubts or perplexity concerning the teaching, now is the time to ask the Tathagata about it. Don't let this opportunity pass by, so that later you will reproach yourselves, saying, "That day I was face to face with the Buddha, but I did not ask him." The Buddha repeated these words 3 times, but no bhikkhu spoke. Venerable Ananda exclaimed, "Lord, it is truly wonderful. I have faith in the community of bhikkhus. I have faith in the Sangha. Everyone has clearly understood your teaching. No one has any doubts or perplexity about your teaching and the path to realize it." The Buddha said, "Ananda, you speak from faith, while the Tathagata has direct knowledge. The Tathagata knows that all the bhikkhus here possess deep faith in the 3 gems. Even the lowest attainment among these bhikkhus is that of stream dentara." The Buddha looked quietly over the community and then said, "Bhikkhus, listen to what the Tathagata now says. Dharmas are impermanent. If there is birth, there is death. Be diligent in your efforts to attain liberation." The Buddha closed his eyes. He had spoken his last words. The earth shook. Sal blossoms fell like rain. Everyone felt their minds and bodies tremble. They knew the Buddha had passed into nirvana. The Buddha had passed away. Some bhikkhus threw up their arms and flung themselves on the ground. They wailed, "The Buddha has passed away. The Lord has died. The eyes of the world are no more. Who can we take refuge in now?" While these bhikkhus cried and thrashed about, other bhikkhus sat silently, observing their breath and contemplating the things the Buddha had taught them. Venerable Anuruddha spoke up, "Brothers, do not cry so pitifully. The Lord Buddha taught us that with birth there is death, with arising there is dissolving, with coming together there is separation. If you understand and follow the Buddha's teaching, you will cease to make such a disturbance. Please sit up again and follow your breathing. We will maintain silence." Everyone returned to his place and followed Venerable Anuruddha's counsel. He led them in reciting sutras they all knew by heart, which spoke about impermanence, emptiness of self, non-attachment, and liberation. Calm dignity was restored. The Mallas lit torches. Sounds of chanting echoed impressively in the dark night as everyone placed his full awareness on the words in the sutras. After a lengthy recitation, Venerable Anuruddha gave a Dharma talk. He praised the Buddha's attainments, his wisdom, compassion, virtue, concentration, joy, and equanimity. When Venerable Anuruddha finished speaking, Venerable Ananda recounted beautiful episodes from the Buddha's life. Throughout the night, the two venerables took turns speaking. The 500 bhikkhus and 300 lay disciples listened quietly. As torches burned down, new ones were lit to take their places until dawn broke.